Welcome to my kitchen. How are you doing today? How's your soul doing? What sort of magic are you creating in your life at this time? And how are you nourishing yourself? So today it's raining and it's quite warm, but I thought it would be the perfect day to share with you one of my favorite drinks. It's called Yogi tea, because today is one of those perfect days where you could just curl up with a book and your favorite drink, and you can have this hot or cold. So Yogi tea is very much like gram masala, or in my family, spaghetti sauce. Every family, every person has their own preference, has their own little take on it, but there are sort of some basics that you need for Yogi tea. So I have this beautiful little canister here that I got from an East Indian store, and it has all my Yogi tea spices in it. So one of the basics that you need for Yogi tea are black peppercorns. And you don't grind them, and you don't use ground. These are the peppercorns, so the little round balls. I have a little pot here of filtered water. So everything just goes by measurement of pinches. So it's a pinch of black peppercorns. So, maybe 8 or something like that. But what I love about recipes like this is that every time it turns out slightly different, but every time it turns out perfect. You can't get this wrong. So another basic ingredient in your Yogi tea would be cinnamon bark. Now, I like to buy these flat pieces that you can find at the East Indian store. I find for my canister here that they're easier to break apart than the ones that are all curled up. And I find them a lot more inexpensive at the East Indian store. So, 2, 3 pieces. It all depends on the amount of water that you have as well. Another basic ingredient would be cloves, and these are whole cloves. So again, it's just a pinch of cloves. And another basic ingredient would be green cardamom pods, and I also like to get these at the East Indian store because they seem to be the freshest that I can find there. If you see them in the grocery store and they've begun to turn brown or white, avoid them. They need to be green. And so the green cardamom pods, the magic is in the pod, always. So we want to use a mortar and pestle to grind the magic out of these pods. I just have a small little mortar and pestle here. So you would just grind these up, and inside you'll find these little black seeds. But you want both. You want both in your drink. So you want to crack those open with your mortar until you've gotten most of the seeds out of the pods. And then that just goes into your distilled water, or your filtered water as well. Another basic ingredient would be ginger. Now, lots of times you'll see that they recommend fresh ginger. And yes, I do like to put fresh ginger into my drink as well. But I find I'm a little sensitive to ginger. And I don't always have fresh ginger around. So I like to use powder. And it fits in my spice container and is handy. Now, my variation would be, so I like to use star anise. It's just so pretty. I don't know how much more flavor it adds. It does have a really unique, more the Chinese flavor than the East Indian flavor. But I don't know, I like to add star anise to mine. And the other thing that I like to add is turmeric powder. And turmeric powder is really wonderful for any sort of inflammation in your body. So I would then take this mixture and put it on my stove, and I would allow it to come to a boil, and then I would let it simmer. And again, there's no way of getting it wrong. truly, truly. So sometimes, you know, I allow it to simmer too long and I need to add more water to it, and that's fine. You want good flavor. So, you know, I leave it there. I love the aroma in my apartment, and when I'm ready for my drink, then I'll think about it. Now, once it's simmered for a while with the spices, I like to add a little bit of black loose tea. Now, not every yogi tea has black tea in it. Usually it doesn't, it's usually caffeine free, but I do like a little bit of black tea in mine. And I do add a little bit of organic sugar. Or sometimes I'll add maple syrup, honey, anything like that. Maybe even a guava, if you have that. So that's near the end of the simmering, because with the black tea, you don't want it to simmer for too long because it will taste a little bitter. So I leave that near the end. So when that's ready, I then take my favorite mug and I'll pour a little milk into it. You know, almond milk is wonderful, oat milk is wonderful. I tend to use more of the dairy milk these days because of controversy over some of those milks that are being produced, but they are wonderful. So, and then I use a strainer, and I'll strain my tea into the cup, and then I have this inexpensive little whisk, and I whisk it up, and it's absolutely delicious. So once you've got the foundation, now lots of times I'll have 1 cup warm and then I'll have another cup cold, because I'll keep the mixture right in the fridge. So I have this Turkish coffee pot. That's what I usually make my tea in. So I find this is good for about 2 cups for me. Now at this time of the year, I like it cold, but with a twist. With a little bit of decadence, because who doesn't want decadence in the summertime, right? So yes, I have my blender here, and this is a Ninja blender, but you know, there's so many wonderful blenders out there. So I start off with some ice. Now I like to add a little bit of collagen powder because I have issues with my fingernails. So I don't necessarily have a smoothie every day or anything like that. So I don't get a lot of collagen in my diet. So I like to add it in this drink because I don't taste it whatsoever. Now another thing that I love to add to my cold yogi tea, which is more of a latte, is this coconut cream. Now I don't know if this is good for you, but oh my goodness, it tastes so good. This is more on the decadent side of yogi tea. So I'll just add like a dollop of this wonderful, luscious, delectable coconut cream into my mixture here. Now, usually on the can, it says, you know, consume in a very short period of time, like either 3 to 5 days. So I don't normally eat a whole can in 3 days. So what I like to do is I have this silicone ice cube tray, and I just put in like little, I just fill up the, what do you call these, the little squares with the coconut cream. And you know, like halfway through, I'll divide the can up into these 6 squares and throw this in the freezer. And I find that it's really easy to pop the coconut cream out and into my container for my smoothie or my latte, and so that way I can keep my coconut cream. Okay, so I have ice cubes, and I have my collagen, and I have my coconut cream, and now I need my yogi tea. So this has been sitting in the fridge for a couple of days, and that's okay, and it still has the spices in it. If anything, it just becomes so much more intense. So I'll strain that through, and all my spices are still in the pot. You can use them again, but you know, it's like anything, the more you steep it, the weaker it becomes. The other thing that I like to add is a little bit of this coconut milk. I really like this brand. This one is from Brazil. And again, you know, you can't get it wrong in terms of proportion. The only thing you can get wrong here is if you fill this container too full, then it will leak when I do the mixing. But that could be interesting. That could be artwork on my kitchen walls. Who knows? Okay, so I have my mixer here, and I figured this is the perfect time to tell you the meaning of life while I mix this up. Now I would pour this into my favorite glass. And sometimes if I leave it sitting for too long, it begins to separate. But that's okay, because with my milk frother, this little device here, I don't need to throw it back into the mixer. I just use my little frother every once in a while and just kind of give it a little froth if it separates. But I tend to drink it pretty quickly because I enjoy it so much. Oh, that coconut cream, I'll tell you. It's delicious. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be filled with peace and be at ease. Until the next time.